board. Yes. Okay. Liz, you got here just in time because we had some technical difficulties, but I see that you're here now.
I did. Whoop, whoop. I'm here to support you. I'm here.
All right, awesome. So Liz, go back on mute because your background was too loud. Okay, good. Okay, so everyone else, I swear once I get past this like fourth slide, I actually am gonna have questions for you guys and I do want you to shout out answers. So let's try this again. I am going to share my screen, but this time, hold on, I'm going back to the beginning. How do I change that over here? Escape, go back to the beginning. Here's my beginning of my slideshow. All right, here we go, guys. Share screen, that one.
You got it.
Alrighty. I also just shut a few apps on my computer, so hopefully we're still good connection-wise. All right. I'm Marie Baginski. We're talking about the 6 human needs. And the huddles meet on Mondays. That was all this slide had. Boom. Okay. So what are the 6 human needs? Why are they important? And how can I apply them to my life? So by the way, I told you I've learned these before. The issue with when I've learned it before is I never applied it to my life. I just learned it and heard of it and it was a concept and I was like, oh, that's cool. But without applying it, there's, you know, it's kind of useless at that point when you don't take those things that you learn and really find a way to implement it in your life, right? So with that being said, what are the 6 human needs? So very briefly, they are certainty, uncertainty / variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And like I mentioned before, the first 4 are actual like required, necessary for human survival. And the last 2 are really more your spiritual needs. And if you get to a point where those are the top priorities for you, you will feel a more fulfilled life. Okay, so why are they important? Essentially, it sounds crazy, but the 6 human needs drive every decision that we make. They really do determine where we spend our time, why we're not getting what we want, why do we do the things that we do. And so as we get into defining them, then I'll go into examples so that you can see that they really do drive every decision that you make. So you kind of say, I want to quit my day job, but security and certainty is your number 1 human need. Guess what? You're not quitting your day job, right? So the first one, and again, these are in no particular order. One of the things that we're actually going to do here in a minute is list the 6 that we like in our personal order of preference, and I'll share with you mine, and I am gonna invite you all to do it with me. So again, no particular order, but one of the needs is certainty. So this is the desire to feel safe, right? To be comfortable, assurance you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. This is, you know, personality traits here. You want safety, security, you have a need for control, you enjoy planning, you're very organized, you're hesitant to take risks. If that sounds like you, certainty is probably one of your really, really high on your list of human needs. So the other thing I'm going to say about these as I go and define them is that every one of these needs can be met in both a positive or a negative way. So I want to go through some positive first, and I want you guys to kind of help me here. You know, how do you think that you can get certainty? If certainty is a need, and we all have a need for it, right? We all need to know that we have a place to sleep tonight. We have food in our bodies. Like, what do you think are some positive ways in your life that you could see that you get certainty?
You just mean what in our lives create certainty?
Yeah. What do you think It is like, I know when I wanted to quit my day job, like my husband was like, I need to see this much money in the bank account. I need to be certain that we can survive for the next 1 year if you don't work your day job, right? Certainty, by the way, is very high on my husband's list. So I'll show you that later. But what else do you think? So having a certain money in a savings account, right, gives you that feeling of safety and security. So that's a positive way that you could feel certain, right? I have a I have an account, a savings account. Another way could be, you keep that safe, secure job. You get a city job because it has a pension and you know that you're going to get pension benefits for the rest of your life, right? But those are examples of positive ones. And so I've listed a few here, but you buy a house, right? That's a positive. Somebody going to say something, or is that background noise? Background noise. Okay. So the examples here are like buy a house, have a safe and secure job, have a certain amount of money in savings, right? Have insurance, whether that be medical insurance, life insurance. And if you're really strong in your faith, like that could be another way that you are certain, like you have certainty, you're meeting that need because you're really, really strong in your faith. The next examples are negative. Does anyone have an idea of what might be a negative way that you can get certainty if certainty is important to you?
Inaction, not taking action because you need to be extra sure and always, analysis paralysis. That's a negative.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a negative. Yep.
Health issue related.
Say that again, Janet.
Health issues?
Health issues. It can definitely cause you some health issues.
You could get fired from your job.
You could. Yeah. So there's also certain things, right? Certain habits, certain things. So this is a list that I came up with. When you have the need for certainty, you want to control others. Helicopter mom comes to mind, right? You might be a hoarder because you don't ever want to not have enough of something. So you are a hoarder. You buy everything and you don't want to get rid of anything because you need to feel certain. Smoking, as crazy as that sounds, right? Smoking or alcoholism or drugs, like they're there. You can count on them. It's dependable. You know it's going to change the way you feel right now. You're going to have some certainty if you choose to do one of those things. But you get certainty, but that's not a positive way to get certainty. Does that make sense, everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
it does.
yeah, it's crazy. And so for each one of these, I'm going to give you the examples and we're going to do positive and negative. So that one was certainty. So again, just read that list and think about yourself and like, is safe and secure, the need for control. Are you a planner? Are you super organized? You hate to take risks. Certainty might be a high one for you.
Did you just go to Costco and buy 100 rolls of toilet paper?
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you. That's exactly it, right? But now, because, life is the way it is, isn't it ironic? But one of the next needs is actually uncertainty. It's the exact opposite, right? Variety. We all have heard variety is the spice of life. I don't know about you guys, but I love to travel. I love to go on adventures. Variety is very high up for me. So, just a definition of that is the need for the unknown, change, and the unexpected. And certain characteristics of your personality would be you're unafraid of taking risks, right? You're outgoing, you like meeting new people, you like adventure, trying new things, you have many interests, you lack planning skills, and you don't like routines. So I don't know about you guys, but even the word routine makes me want to vomit. So I know that variety is the spice of my life. It might not be for everyone, but it definitely is high up there for Marie.
Yeah, I'm a workshop junkie. I sign up for everything.
All right. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So if you particularly like doing all the travel and stuff like that, but do you or do you not take the time to be organized and planned for that specific travel trip? And where does that correlate or wrap back to the certainty?
Yeah, it's true. I was thinking about that in specific when I wrote this, Bob, because me and my husband took a trip to Europe, right? A couple years ago, we went on a cruise
You got
and
to
I had planned an adventure for every single port that we were on the cruise because I didn't want to not have the experience of every single place, right?
Right.
So, but I had to plan so that I could get that adventure. So it's kind of interesting how the two of those can definitely go hand in hand. And it's interesting as we'll go through even this list right now. I think it will be interesting to see that some of those, especially the bad habits or the negative ways to achieve uncertainty and variety can actually also be met when like fulfill the need for certainty. So that's interesting.
Well,
Um,
I will say, I think some of that, in regards to Bob's statement, some of that comes from natural, instinctual, who I am, compared to I'm also an adult and I've had to adapt a lot in my adult life. And to second that, it's not just me adapting to expectations or societal expectations or things like that. It's also what does or how will my spouse respond? So one of you could be completely whimsical and the other person could be the most planning person in the world. And both of you, if you're each planning a vacation, could try to adapt to the other person's requests.
Yeah.
So like we can look at what is our natural instinct or what we want compared to what we'll actually do isn't always the case. Like we're
Compromise.
taught to adapt.
It's compromise. It's not adapting. It's the compromise. And then it works most of the time, but it doesn't work all of the time.
True.
But the other thing, Mia, and what you brought up, and I just want to reiterate, is these 6 needs, the order of them can change throughout the course of your life. So when I first heard about this, I was at a Tony Robbins seminar and I was about 24 years old. And I can tell you that the top 3, because we put them in order of like what's the top 3. The top 3 when I was 24 and the top 3 now that I'm 40 have also changed. And all 6 are still there to some degree. And like I said, I'll show you my specific order. There's a little quiz that I'm going to give you guys the link to if you want to go take it. It's kind of, like a personality test, figuring out the order of these 6 human needs for yourself. But they will change as life goes on. So,
and I'm sorry, Marie. Well, I guess one thing that I wanted to maybe add to that is I agree. I do think that the ordering of these 6 needs can change. And maybe it's just for me. I think even the interpretation of these different needs can change throughout your life as well. Because I'm looking at how you're breaking down these 6 needs. I mean, I know we're just getting started, but the way I was thinking about it when we were actually going through this exercise, I interpreted it a little bit differently. I totally agree with what you have here, but I also look at it. And so it's nice to see somebody else's perspective when it comes to certainty and uncertainty. And I guess I'll say this to Bob, that doesn't mean that you can interpret these needs for how it works for you, or in doing an internal reflection to say, oh, okay, well, the uncertainty word means something, but for me, uncertainty is X, Y, and Z kind of thing. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. I truly understand exactly where you're coming from. 100%. I know Marie knows how my mind is always freaking a bazillion miles an hour.
I know.
All of us.
Yes. So I just wanted to, break this down, and I am doing it, and I will say for Lorraine's sake, we just heard someone break this down, and I and breaking this down into what made sense to me and my interpretation and the order that I wanted to present it as well, right? Because it was presented to us very differently than what I'm providing to you guys right here. So this is definitely like my spin on it, my version. So Lorraine, please, if I missed something, let me know. But again, I want to touch
Oh,
base
no, you're
on-
not missing anything. I just wanted to, enhance what you were
Yes.
saying.
Yes, no, thank you. So again, the need for variety can be met in positive ways and in negative ways. And I can tell you that variety was probably my number one when I was 24. It's moved down to number 3 as I'm 40. So it's not as important, but it's still very important to me. So that's definitely just part of my personality and who I am. And I can tell you that I've done some of the stuff on the positive side as well as some of the stuff on the negative side, because that's how important it was to me. So, some positive things that I had come up with before we got on this call was, travel. Travel is a great way. Adventure, right? Going to concerts or live events or seeing plays or musicals, those kind of give you that sense of variety. Even watching a new movie, right, can spice up. You go to that place in the movie. You're leaving your alternate reality. Spontaneous dates is a good positive way to get variety in your life. Learning a new skill, a new hobby, going out and meeting new people. But be aware that, again, you could meet the need for variety in negative ways. So some of the negative ways that I thought of, and again, if you guys want to add at any point, just jump in. But promiscuity is a big one. I did that a lot in my 20s. Irene can verify, by the way. Creating drama, right? You know, those people that you're just like, they're drama queens, like they need to have drama in their life. That's their, like, that's the spice of life. I'm going to talk shit about everybody. Like, that's fun, but it's not healthy, right? Violence for people. If you're in a relationship with someone who's violent is a way that they're showing variety, as horrible as that is. And then emotional eating, you're giving yourself some uncertainty there. And then again, smoking, drugs, and alcohol. And I know I just mentioned smoking, drugs, and alcohol on the certainty side, but the crazy thing is, smoking, drugs, and alcohol, as much as you're certain it's going to change your state and maybe make you feel better, you are uncertain of what you're going to do once you get in that state, right? You're going to go, I don't know, rob a bank or do something stupid today because you're on drugs, right? So I'm going to jump into this later, but I just want to say that the way they affect your decision making is if you find something that can meet all 6 of these needs in one, you are going to be addicted to that thing, whatever it is. They actually say if only 3, as long as you're meeting 3 needs with a habit, you will not want to give up that habit because it's meeting at least 3 of the 6 human needs. So keep that in mind. All right. So actually, should I go back? Anything that anybody wanted to add on variety before I move on? Are we good?
I wanted to add on variety from a different perspective too, as far as the brain, neurology speaking. Sorry, that's a hard word for me. But basically, like in Google, right? I remember reading a report when they first started Google. One of the things that was encouraged when, say, they were trying to code or break a code or find a solution to a problem or whatnot, or engineer, and they were stuck, they had a lot of things where there were distractions, quote unquote, right? There were games and board games, puzzles, rooms, where it was encouraged, right? A different type of culture from the corporate world of work, and stay in this cubicle, right? But they understood the way the brain works, right? And it needs variety. It must, right? So that sometimes in the middle of that variety, you have an aha moment, and like, oh, and they would be able to go back and solve problems, right? And it's also people, when we go to school and we study, right? We're having the test. It's encouraged that you don't just study, right? That you study and then you let the brain, the subconscious, absorb that. So the variety, so that then you can retain it, right? It's like a muscle. And so I think variety is important for the brain to adapt and to be able to think, and for its creative form as well. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, that was actually very beautifully said, Alfredo.
Thank you.
Aren't we using both of these? And don't we have to have both the variety, the certainty and the uncertainty? If it was like you gave, where as much as you thought you were extreme, as much as on the extreme on the variety side, there was still that structure component that was all wrapped in there. Right? Because I tend to think of a very rigid structured book. I can be a very rigid structured person, and by both nature and by trade. But at the same time, there's always a sense of variety and some change, some difference.
Yeah.
Projects, I'll take on different projects.
Right. Because you like the variety.
I need some variety.
Well, like I said, so Leslie, after we go through all 6, I'm literally gonna ask you guys, take a little 5-minute break, and you tell me in your order what you think your top 3 are. At least you don't need to maybe go down to all 6, but I want you to really think about which 3 are the most important for you, because yes, we all do need certainty and we need uncertainty, but which one do you prioritize? That's going to determine your personality and where you spend the most time. So if uncertainty is huge for you and certainty is really, really, really low, you're going to be a completely different person than the person sitting next to you. That's completely swapped. So just think about it as we're going through, and look at, like I said, both the positive and negative ways that you can get them, because there are positive ways that you can get that uncertainty. And it might be better than starting 7 projects at one time and running out of money or something like that, you know, just saying. All right. So the third here is significance. And what is significance? I mean, it's feeling unique, right? It's feeling important or special. Some of the things or some of the personality traits, it's like if significance is important for you, it's because you like to receive recognition, you want to be noticed, you want to have the spotlight, you know, maybe you're a prima donna like Madonna, you want to be unique, right? Success is very important to you because you get recognized for that. Or even you're very competitive or very dramatic. So maybe you play sports and you got to be the best one at that sport because that gives you significance, right? You get an award. Lorraine is a beast when it comes to sports. That girl's got power in her. Let me tell you, she used to play basketball. She looked like a professional out there. But other things too, right? You can drive a McLaren like my husband, or pray to become employee of the month. Or one way that Tony Robbins actually talks about significance is you don't have enough significance in your life. All you got to do is hold a gun to somebody's head, because guess what? Now you're really fucking significant to that person, right? Life or death in their hands. So again, positive and negative ways that you can get significance, but everyone needs significance. How high significance is on your list might be different than the person sitting next to you, but we still all need it. It is a human need. So how do we get significance, right? I mean, I just named a few, but does anybody have ideas for positive significance? Like, if significance is really important to you, how do you get that in a positive way? Say that again, Leslie.
Career.
Sorry, I still couldn't hear you.
Career.
Yeah, 100%, right? Career. Significant. I mean, and the type of career specifically, right? Like you want to be an actress or a rock star, maybe significance is really important to you. You want everybody to know your name.
Okay, so Marie, I am here. I have been listening, and I just taught a lesson on this stuff to some gals that I was with, and I'll tell you guys that significance was my number 1, and Marie's laughing probably right now because I said I worked my ass off at this one job because I just wanted to be employee of the month one time. I kept getting raises. I kept getting job titles, and not that I didn't appreciate that. I just wanted my freaking name on the plaque. I just want to be recognized for that. And so, yeah, it can be anything in anyone's, but we have to remember that in somebody's life, even in our children, because it's that, you know, I say this because my husband's probably was insignificant. What would be significance? He was never told he was proud. His parents were proud. So even in our children, I'm proud of you. You know, they need a medal or a trophy. No, but can you just say, I'm proud of you? And that verbiage alone can go miles for people. An employee, a contractor, a subcontractor, I'm proud of the work you did. So I just want to put that in there.
Yeah. And that's great, Liz, because that's one of the things they say with significance. That's one of the best ways to get your employees to be more productive is giving them the accolades, telling them that they did a good job. Lorraine, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this is one of the ones that I sort of struggled with, but the more that I think about it and then hearing your explanation, I would say a positive way to get significance, not necessarily taking it back to sports, but being part of a team. Recognizing that you can control, and then I also feel like this, you're going to get into it, but I also feel this has a lot of similarities to contribution.
Mhm.
But I do think that significance and being part of a team and knowing that you are giving value and that makes you feel better about yourself because you are, you know, part of a larger group or helping others, I think is a positive way that you can get significance.
Yeah, I think that's a
Boy,
really
this is a big one for me. I just realized it because I want to be super nurse, but it's not just that. I volunteer for everything. Oregon Humane Society. I drive Meals on Wheels. I want people to know, look at everything I do. I love to be part of a group, and I like to always be known that I always show up. I didn't.
Okay, so wait, with that, is it significance and contribution, which would be first? I only want to interrupt you because they're so close and that's so good.
Right, but I just realized I always had a need to have my dad proud of me or somebody to be proud of me. And I mean, he was, but I just realized how I need to be significant. I need to do so many things and have everybody know it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you guys have touched on so many of the things that I listed, and Liz, I just wanted to point out something for you because we recently went out to lunch with someone and I emailed everyone in the group to exchange contact information. And when I got a reply from this person, I couldn't believe how many letters were after their name with different accomplishments. And I have this thing and this thing and this thing. And so, you know,
oh my God, that's so funny. So we have to signify. That's an important
That's
thing.
the significance thing for that person, right? So again, positive ways to achieve significance is through degrees, awards, maybe military service, becoming successful, getting promotions. For my husband, it's driving a fancy car because not everybody's got that car. That makes you pretty freaking significant when you pull a McLaren into a parking lot in front of a pool hall, let me tell you.
And I've got pictures of it to prove
I know, Peggy's seen it. Peggy's seen it. So you
know, I want to share this one too, if I may, whenever you're done, though. I don't want to interrupt.
No, go, Alfredo, go.
So when I hear the word significance, if we were playing a word game with association, the first thing I think of is purpose for me, you know, and I think lately it's because I've been on I would say, transcendent spiritual journey, where I'm thinking everything that I'm doing to my descendants. I'm looking to my legacy. And so I think for me, what I want to leave is purpose. I want to have purpose. That's significant to me, to be able to impact someone's life, to be able to make it better, to be able to add value, to be able to give, to be able to just live a little fingerprint, a little imprint in their soul that I partook in some way, shape, or form, whether it's behind the scenes even. There's something incredibly satisfying that's almost selfish, that it feels so good to do good and be good and give. And so I think for me, significance is purpose, finding purpose in life. And you know, I am a Capricorn, and I tend to be very, you know, idealistic, and we think big. And so kind of like when I look at the movie of Troy, and I'll end with this, you know, the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, there's this part where, you know, they told him, the mother says, if you go to, you know, to fight, right? He goes, you will die, you know. No, if you stay here, you will have a beautiful family and kids and grandkids and so on, and they will love you. But nobody will remember you when you're gone. He says, but if you go, you certainly will not return, but you will have glory forever, right? So I guess that's some of the purpose, to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah,
So anyway,
and-
sorry, I was long-winded.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna also let you know though, contribution is coming up later, and contribution is way more purpose related, but you have to be careful because and I like it. So Lorraine, I'm really excited because I found a little online quiz today, which made it breaking this down easier, because then you're just answering the questions and then they literally tell you, okay, this is your 6 in order.
That's pretty awesome that you have a quiz. That's great. Yeah.
So I'm going to share the link to that, but Alfredo, I like where you're going. And I do think that significance and contribution in particular are very closely related. And I would say that the purpose really probably falls more on the contribution side than it really does on this significance side. So just be aware and where we're going. Because significance, again, here, there's negative ways to be significant. The example I just gave you, hold a fucking gun to somebody's head. That's not a positive way to be significant, but all of a sudden you're very significant to whoever's on the other side of that gun, right? So,
and there's the theoretical guns too. It doesn't have to be a physical gun. There's a lot of things that you can do or say to somebody that puts them in a position where you are literally like, I mean, for instance, as a landlord, you foreclose on somebody or you evict them. It puts, you're a very significant person in their life.
yeah.
I can add on top of that. So you're positive, you show military service, but also a negative with military service. One sentence that I said to my platoon while we were deployed, I'm disappointed in you. You want to see people hop, jump, skip, and try and figure out what the hell is wrong with the boss? That is the negative, but in the same thing, it's because success is important.
Right.
So
yeah, and I mean, that would have been like the most heartbreaking thing for my parents to say to me, like, I'm disappointed in you. Oh.
I know, but look exactly what you're saying right now, and not to bring all this in, but that's so good with the military. But look at what people then go after the servicemen and women, the police, the fire, and everything, and they want significance. And are they doing that in the power in the wrong way? They're taking that power to the wrong nth degree. And is that everybody? No. But are they doing it because that's what they want in their life? And they think, back to Marie's point, I hold a gun to your head, whether I'm good or bad, I'm significant now, and you're not. Your life isn't, I am. Yeah. So it's just that. Is that what they're recognizing in their power and their life? And it's so funny, and not funny, but so eye-opening when you see this, and then you think, oh my gosh, is that their number one? And they want to be significant. So they took that power into their own hands, and they shouldn't have. So I just want to say that because that was so powerful what you just said about the whole military and everything.
And I also want to add, I think that just kind of taking some of the positive and spinning it how it can be negative, I think degrees and awards and maybe sometimes even promotions can be a negative because people can sometimes use it as a way to think that they're better or make themselves feel that they're better than someone else. So, you know, kind of with your example of, you know, someone who has multiple commas after their name, that is a great thing. And that's very positive, but then that could also be used as, well, I have all these degrees and you don't, so I know more than, so that sort of mentality.
Right, and it goes down to like, then you're almost like bullying them or making them feel insignificant so that you feel significant.
You can feel,
right?
Exactly.
So that's a negative way to do it, by putting someone else down so that you feel better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some other examples I had come up with, you know, being sick, like, I know I'm crazy, but at one point significance was so important to me that I was just like, dang, I wish I got hit by a car, because then everyone would come see me in the hospital. Everyone would want to take care of me. Everyone would like, and that's some sad shit to put out there in the universe, right? But that's a negative way that all of a sudden you're significant to everyone, right?
Yeah.
I think
Munchausen.
I think
much
you men get like that when you get the flu because all of a sudden you're all fucking useless. So
Blah,
you're
blah,
just like,
blah.
I can't take care of myself. Please.
But I guess it's that thought of playing the victim. That's basically
It is.
the being sick part.
Not all the same.
Oh,
think
come on,
women get
Leslie. Don't take it
manly, too.
personal.
You don't know me well enough.
But again, and so again, significance might not be high on your list. It might be low on your list. There are some people that don't like the spotlight, right? They don't want to be noticed. They want to be in the back of the room. We got a lot of Kyles out there, right, Lorraine? That they're gonna be quiet. They don't want.
Kyle's breaking. He's
He's
shipping.
breaking.
He's
I know.
shipping.
Will say, I think when significance is low, it's still there. It's just in a different way. You may
Right.
not want to get an award or, to be recognized for rescuing somebody from a building, but significance comes in a lot of little ways too. I know for me, I don't feel like I'm a really big significance person, but I can tell you that when Marie tags me in a Facebook post and says, when somebody says, hey, I need a real estate agent, and Marie's like, go check out Mia, she's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Like those, like for me, I don't even care if I get the listing. Like that little thing is significant to me. So I think when somebody doesn't have significance as a high attribute, I think there are ways that significance is important. It's just most of the time we think of significance as a really big thing.
Right.
I know for me and my ex, I can tell you my big thing was when he walked in the house and he could tell that I cleaned the floors. And he'd walk
It's
in and be like,
appreciation.
it is, but it was appreciation, but I just felt like, oh, he like really noticed, like I'm significant to him. And for him, he didn't appreciate a whole lot. So when he noticed the floors, it was a really big deal. And I just felt like the most amazing person in the world when he came in and commented on them. I didn't even care.
Well, and another thing I want to bring up to you, and I was going to mention this a little bit later, but I feel like it belongs probably back here is, again, we're going to talk about contributions soon, right? For me, the one thing that came up for contribution versus significance is like, be careful who you vote for, okay? People that are running for office, are they running for office because they actually want to contribute and make this world a better place? Or do they just want to be significant and want to have the spotlight? So that was just something I wanted to throw out there. Like, I feel like for a politician, maybe both are high, but hopefully we know which one's higher when when they're there. Because we hope that we're getting politicians that want to contribute, which is why, Janeth, I want to know when your husband's running for office, because that's the councilman I'll vote for.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Thank you so much, Mary. It is, I know it's my husband, but when kids come to him and said to him, they invite us for dinner. One of his former students invite us for dinner, and she said to him, Mr. Bailey, the only father role model that I had was you, and I didn't commit suicide because of you. So I was like, whoa. Oh my God, that is, I mean, nobody has said that to me, but.
Well, he was definitely significant in that person's life.
Okay.
Right?
Absolutely, he was, and the kids come to him to his classroom, and it's sad that, oh, sorry, David just dropped a plate with meatballs and spaghetti. So anyway, why, David?
That sounds pretty significant to me. I'm hungry. That sounds
hungry.
pretty significant.
You have a dog?
David, calm down, David.
All right, I'm gonna
So-
keep moving though, because I want to get through
Yes.
all 6 of these.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Love and connection, right? So love and connection is a strong feeling of closeness to someone or something. So I wanted to add that in there because it doesn't have to necessarily be a person. It could be a cause, right? You have a really strong cause for, maybe that's why you start your own nonprofit or something. This is a really strong connection that you feel to something. And if that's true for you, then you value close relationships. Loyalty is very important to you, and you are very loyal to the people around you. You are very generous with your family and friends. You can even prioritize others and lose sense of yourself, and you find it hard to say no. So for me, when I think of this, like the best example I have are like, 99% of the moms in this world. You're taking care of your kids and you will completely take care of your kids and your family and lose sense of yourself and not maybe do some self-care, right? Because love and connection is so important to you that you want to feed into them, feed into them, feed into them, feed into them, and that probably even gives you some significance. So again, all of these go together. But love and connection, I think, is a really, really big one for many, many people. And again, I just want to touch base on the positive and negative ways that we can seek that. So some positive ways. Does anybody have something they want to throw out there, or you want me to just throw mine up?
Relationship is one, the very obvious one. And I think that goes to the previous one we were talking about, as well as contribution.
Yeah.
That's what I think cuts through all of them.
Did you just put the 5 love languages on there?
I did, sweetheart. I did. So again, and that's one of the other references that I have for you guys later is the link to the 5 love languages quiz, because I think it so goes with this section, so important. But how do you feel love and connection? Again, joining a club or maybe being part of a team, Lorraine, you're connected to that team, taking care of the kids. And then in your marriage and your relationship, how do you show love? How do you feel love? How do you get love? Is it quality time?
I know, but yeah, Marie, I was just with these ladies. That's why I'll get on Zoom in the picture in a minute, but I had to make dinner real quick. I was just with these ladies and I was telling them what it was. And I'm not kidding. We're all adults here, but my friend was like, sex, 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 and sex. And I'm like, then Cindy, your number one is love and connection. I mean, that's it for you. If that's it.
Well, it's love and connection, and more specifically within the 5 love languages, for her, it's physical touch.
Yeah. And that's her. And it was just so funny because I went through them right off the bat and without her even thinking, she's like, sex. And I'm like, you're love and connection. She's like, that is my it. And it was just so funny because I'm like, and they're listening. I'm like, we're paying. I'm like, okay, ladies, we're going. What's the next? But that
What's
was
wrong
just
with
funny.
that?
No, nothing. But
wrong with that.
I said that she says that one of them, and I'm like, it's love and connection. Then that's your thing. So it's yeah. But then, as you say, go on. But it can go back both ways.
Well, and again, there's negative ways to get love and connection, right? So the first example I can think of is that 3-year-old having a temper tantrum, probably because you just haven't paid fucking attention to them lately and they want to feel love and connected, right? So negative ways and things that I think, the rebellious kids, obviously you can get love and connection by emotionally eating. That's self-love. You're giving yourself, if you try to control others, that's a bad way to get love and connection. Like trying to control your kids makes you feel more connected to them, but that's not a healthy way to get love from your kids, by trying to control them. Again, being helpless or hurt so that people will pay attention to you might give you love and connection, but that's not a healthy way to get love and connection. Alcoholism, drugs, and again, like I said, rebellious children. Like, to me, that was like, boom. If my kids have so many hours of TV and I'm not paying attention to them and they want some attention, they're going to do some dumb shit to get my attention. It's not a healthy way to get love and connection, but they're just like, mommy, I need some, right?
I think I understand this one more now, what the exercise is. When I think of love and connection, the positive is someone that's protective, right? A positive is protective, caring, nurturing, providing. And then a negative, I think, would be staying in a toxic, abusive relationship, right? Because the person doesn't want to be alone. And so they think that that's love and they stay even though they're either beaten or tortured or whatever. So
yeah, 100%. Okay, and so now these last 2, like I said, are more of a kind of spiritual need, but again, these are all needs. We have to meet them somehow, whether it's positive or negative, with our actions, with our habits. So these are just all listed out here. Growth is the expansion of capacity, capability, or understanding, whether it's physical growth, emotional growth, mental growth, right? Like just growth in general, you can meet it in different ways. Are you the type of person that strive to be better, always learning, trying to accomplish new things. Sometimes you're working so hard that you forget to rest and relax because growth is so important for you, right? You're always pushing your boundaries or the boundaries that are set by society, even. You're usually very independent, but sometimes you find it hard to connect with others, and not maybe attached to material things. And again, how do we get growth, right? Positive ways are reading, studying, showing up to this weekly huddle so we can learn something, exercise, new hobbies, learning an instrument. These are all healthy ways to get growth, where negative things are given into bad habits, too much TV, being too controlling, or being manipulative to other people. And then for time's sake, I'm just going to jump into contribution. So contribution, and we talked about this with significance, and I do think they are very, very closely related. And when I show you my test results, you'll see that mine were pretty close. But the sense of service, right? Focus and helping others. Like Alfredo said, you want to leave a legacy, right? You want to make a difference in this world. You want to know that when you leave, that you were able to change the world. Unfortunately, sometimes you're willing to neglect your personal relationship in order to go change the world because you think your mission or your passion or your thing that you're working on to change the world might be more important than your day-to-day family relationships. But you enjoy giving back, sharing what you have and what you know, but you also may burn out easily. And you can also be easily taken advantage of by others if you're not careful, because you're so willing to give and contribute, right? So again, how do we get contribution? We're either going to get it in a positive or a negative way, but we are going to do it. So like Peggy said, she volunteers, volunteer number one, right? Or even, Janet, for your husband, he had a career in teaching. That was his contribution. He knew he was changing the lives of young kids when he became a teacher. My husband became a fireman. He knew he wanted to be able to help people and save people and have an impact on their lives. If you're a pastor, a career in religion, medical, a lot of people that go into nursing or medicine, it's because they want to contribute and change the world. Peggy's like, yes, that's me too. Coaching.
All of me.
Right? Coaching, like me. I want to be able to coach. I want to give back to you guys and everybody. There's other good ways. You can write a book, you can foster or adopt a kid, you can donate monetarily to different organizations. Those are all positive ways you do meet your need of contribution, but there are, again, still negative ways. Bullying comes back in again because you can put people down and be able to contribute to a whole group of people by showing them up, right? Like think of the school bully and how many kids that they bully. Gossiping, selling drugs. Yeah, you're contributing to a whole society of people that are getting into negative things, right? And even bigger, like negative art or music that has the power to influence large groups of people. And for me, I think the biggest thing is again, I'll say it again, because I think it's so important, but choose your politicians wisely. Are they truly politicians because in their heart, they want to contribute and they want to make a difference and they want to leave a legacy? Or do they really just want significance? And that's why they're running for office. One of the things that I read about this too was if contribution is really high on your list, don't join a volunteer group, start your own. That's because then you're going to do what you're truly passionate about, right? Not just join somebody else's group that they already had started.
Mary, I want to add there, I like this stuff that Elda and Eddie does, and they do a lot of stuff, and Eddie doesn't say anything, but he does help a lot of people where he doesn't charge what he has to charge to people for the hard work that he does sometimes. So, but I really appreciate you guys, and yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
I love it. I see them with their kids volunteering. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I saw how you said make a difference in other people's lives, but sometimes you neglect your own personal relationships. I see people doing that, but that's something I make a priority not to do. I always want to involve my kids.
Yeah, no, and it's beautiful. I love seeing those posts, your family volunteering at the church and soup kitchen or something, right?
I got a great example. All of these slides, there was a movie made about this, and Jim Carrey, called Yes Man. If you have not watched it, watch it, and you'll be beside yourself. It just clicked in all of this.
I have seen it. The Yes Man, yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I'm
it's
a
crazy
yes
how
girl.
how you can associate those things, right, Bob?
Mhm.
So okay, that was all the intelligence portion of this, right? This was like, I needed you guys to even understand what these are and understand kind of the differences between them and even how they relate to each other. So before we go on this call, I really want everyone to take just 2 minutes, and these are the 6, they're listed there on the screen: certainty, uncertainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And without taking a quiz, can you name your top 3? So everybody take a second, maybe grab a pen and paper, or just do it in your head, but really think about what are the top 3, because now I want to get into how do we use this knowledge that we just learned? How do we use this last, hour of discussing the 6 human needs? But what does that mean? How do I change, like, how do I use it to change my life or to change the decisions that I'm making in my life? So take 2 minutes, name your top 3, and I actually got to pee real quick, so I'll be right back.
Good to know.
Sorry, but it'll take me 2 seconds. So everybody, you can discuss amongst yourselves. And
Well, don't forget to wipe. Oh my God, that's so funny.
All right, Liz. So what if there are a couple that overlap that fall within your top 3? How do you relate to that?
Okay, no, it's not. It's you're ranking them from 1 to 3. Now, where are you? My camera on. I don't know if I'm on now.
I'm
But
Bob.
I know, Bob, but ranking them. It's ranking. Oh, there we are. It's ranking them. So we had to do this exercise. So we went off and we ranked them. And literally, and Marie and I spoke about this morning. It was so funny. Because number 1 is I'm significance. And I've done this before, but it's been a while. But I need to be, I'm recognized. Recognize me for what I've done. But just rank them. And then I still love and connection, but it was pretty low down on my list. But 3 years from now, maybe it's higher up. The other thing was,
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think in order to, like, right now we can glance and try to rank it. We may have a lot of overlapping because we're truly thinking about everything. But
yeah,
if we were to leave this meeting and we take some time and write down what is important to you for certainty, what is important to you for uncertainty, what is important to you for significance, and then rank them, we may at the top of, like, I don't put certainty or uncertainty at either of my top. Both of those are at my bottom. But if I were to truly write them out as to what falls under certainty and what falls under uncertainty, I feel like one of those would probably
I know, and they can, because literally when I got to the bottom 3, I'm like, God, I still love and connect, and I don't want to sound like I'm not, but I had to rearrange them. But okay, so for certainty versus uncertainty, for me, that's a huge thing. And this year I have a lot of uncertainty happening in my life, a lot. My kids are graduating, I got marriages, we're moving, but I have to be excited about that instead of scared about that. Like I have to put it in the right perspective for me and be like, oh my God, I have to be so excited about this instead of like, oh, my daughter's graduating and life is over and I'm moving. And no, I'm so excited. So I want to go with certainty. Growth for me would not, Mia, exactly what you said. Growth for me would never have been one of my top 3 5 years ago. Now growth, what can I learn today? What can I learn today? What can I learn today? What can I learn today?
But I think it's when you break it down. You have to break it down to be able to put these into perspective.
It shifted, but I'll tell you, significance has always been a number 1 for me. I don't know why, but
I do, Liz. We took a personality test a while back, and it was called the 16 personalities, and you came up as the entertainer. So I'm not surprised that significance is your number 1, Liz. Just throwing it out.
Anyway, so I think they can ebb and flow. But it doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't love and connect with my family.
Of course. And so I also want to throw out there, Mia, that I am going to give you guys a link to a quiz that you can take so that you really, it does help break these down for you. And then you'll see it like, oh, that's my, I mean, as long as you answer the quiz quickly and honestly, you'll see what yours is. And so I'll break down mine for you. And I think if you see how I broke mine down, and actually I'll tell you what I thought.
Wait, Marie, will you compare yours to Chris? Like exactly what you told me today this morning? I mean, I think it's so powerful.
We're going there right now, Liz.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna be very quiet.
No,
because
you're good.
I'm gonna go home and put this in my gratitude journal so that or
no,
put it in my gratitude journal so I can see it.
I
So,
think
Marie,
this next part is going to be powerful.
So Marie and everyone, while I'm doing all this, I'm realizing how I've changed in the last, even over the last 20 years.
Of
or
course.
20, and that used to be so important to me. Now I've shifted.
Yes,
And
100%, Peggy.
Absolutely.
It's going to change over the course of your life, and it's going to change depending on the season of your life. Like Liz said, certainty was probably her number one, but right now she knows she got a lot of uncertainty going on, so she might as well embrace it and put it high on her priority list and just say, okay, I'm accepting this, right?
And I'm not promiscuous anymore.
Me neither, girl. Me neither. I'm married now. 10 years.
Connection can still be number one. Sorry, Peggy, number one.
But
I have a quick question, Marie. Can the importance of these be different in different aspects of your life, like your business life, your personal life? Like for business, for me, significance is important, but like in my personal life, not so much. Do you think that's normal?
Right. No, I think that that's definitely normal. I hadn't broken it down that way, but why not? Like, yeah, in certain areas of your life, certain things are going to be way more important, right?
Well, but with that said, I think that goes back to like what I said earlier with the whole life forces you to adapt or evolve or whatever it is. There's going to be like, what is your most naturally important to you compared to what you develop?
Yes, and what's in that environment, right? That is forcing it.
There's a lot of people in certain businesses, definitely not our business, but in certain businesses, certainty, it would be a number one. Whether it is or is to that person, there's certain businesses that it would have to be.
Yeah.
Where for us, maybe uncertainty is a more common attribute in real estate. And we have to adapt to that, but it might not be comfortable for us. In real estate, we may want to say certainty is our number one, but in all reality, please tell me anyone in real estate who is 100% certain about whatever's happening all the time, because
It's a lie.
But Mia, that comes back to what makes you happy. Like you want to be on your own and be or you want to join a team where you're giving the leads and given that, because then you have certainty that I'm giving the leads and I don't have to go find them on my own. I get what you're saying, because there's some uncertainty in the business, but I'm certain I can get leads because I don't have to generate them. My company does it for me, and I'm willing to give them a 60-40 split because of that exact reason. Versus screw it, I'm going out, but again, so that's where that comes in, I think.
Yeah, you hire somebody to take all the no's.
I chose this career that it's a very uncertain career. I chose everything in my life to be uncertain, even though I would much rather have a certain annual income every year.
But that makes you successful in it. And how many people, I'm sorry, just one more thing. How many people fall out of it then?
It does, but that's where it comes to be the choice, the development, the forced, like putting myself in there.
Recognize this now. Recognize it ahead of time. Think now. Would you rather go back and been in 25, 24, 20, and been given this test and been like, it's not what you have to do, but this might not be the avenue for you.
Yeah.
This might be a better, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to stop.
Pause. Alfredo, what do you want to say? That you actually put a hand up on Zoom. Like who does that?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. I think there's also a variety here also. There could be like, for example, how us men think, how women think, right? For example, I think of the way my brain is wired, also where we are in our lives. Like if I look at this list, And there's one thing that's very important, it's certainty, right? Like, in the certainty that because of where I am, I need to know that the things that I'm doing are going to work. I need to know that the action I'm taking is going to lead to succeed, right? I need to know that I have, that I joined the right mentorship, that I joined the right, all these different things, right? Like those certainties are important, like life decisions, right? So, and I know that down the road, that might switch a little bit later, and that's okay. I think these are all moving pieces. And I think what matters is not so much, at least in my view, what could have, would have, but because that's kind of like, we can waste energy, right? Kind of like, but if we can focus on now, what's going on now, right now, and where are we right now? And it's okay that tomorrow or a week or a month, or as certain things change, that they modify in their order, right? But I think also, you guys, I was hearing business. And so as a man right now, I just need certainty, right? Because my future, my daughter, her college, so I need to be, so I don't know, I'm babbling out, but does that make sense? So
you are babbling out, and I got to move on. So I love all of you guys, and I love that you're so engaged in this, because that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. Honestly, like, I've learned this so many times, but again, the discussion part I've always had. It's this next part that I never had before. And so I'm just gonna pause everyone so that you can see where I went. So first of all, I took the test today that I'm going to give you, this little quiz, and these were my results. And I will tell you, one thing I want to add is, you can also acknowledge where you've been living and where you would prefer to be living. So I will say, as far as the future and past thing goes, Alfredo, I know that when I was 24 and I learned this for the first time, I was all about significance, uncertainty, and growth, right? Those were my three. And at that time, I was like, but fuck, should significance really be that important to me? Like, now learning this, I'm going, I should really care about love and connection. I should really care about contribution. So you can acknowledge where you've been living and where you've been putting priorities, and also look to change what are the most important to you. So I just want to throw that out there. And I want to say, I took this test, but when I wrote it down 2 days ago at the event, I actually thought that growth was my number one and contribution was my number two. But when I took the quiz today, it turned out that contribution was number one and growth was number two. So for some reason, those were flip-flopped, but they were still really close to each other. And I don't know if you can all see this or how big it is on your screen, but these are the actual results. And I'll give you the link, like I said, to this quiz. So 140, the highest ranking thing for me was contribution. Growth was 135. Uncertainty, variety, 115. And then significance was very close, right behind at 110. Love and connection was 75. Please don't judge me. I swear I'm actually a good wife and mother. And then certainty was all the way down there at 5. I don't give two shits about certainty, routine, habits, any of that. It literally makes me want to puke when people even say the word. So I wanted to share that, but then again, moving right along, because I don't want 8 o'clock to come and me not get to this.
I know, but wait, I have one question about that. Certainty, that's so funny that you said that, but you love systems. So where would that fall in, Marie? I just want to point that out, because we're all about systems. So where do you think that would fall in? Because you don't like certainty, that would be your care, but you love a system.
I love a spreadsheet because I'm an engineer, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But anyway, so then the exercise was list your top 3, right? So I listed my top 3. They were contribution, growth, uncertainty, variety. But then when we had the exercise, I sat there and I started thinking about my husband. So my husband's name is Chris. Obviously, you all should know him. And I was like, what are Chris's top 3? Like, let me think about my husband. And all of a sudden, I'm like, this is his top 3: loving connection, significance, and certainty. And loving connection, by far, family is the most important thing to him. He has been a stay-at-home dad. He joined the fire department so that he could be a stay-at-home dad, because he wanted to be able to spend time in his kid's life because his father was so important in his life. There is no doubt in my mind, love and connection is his number 1. Significance is definitely number 2. Again, McLaren example, just throwing it out there. I've always made a joke about my husband that he's flashy but classy. He's always has to have shiny things because they make him feel significant. And certainty. I wanted to quit my day job, y'all. And my husband was like, you are not quitting your job until you check this box, this box, this box, this box, this box. Like, I want to make sure we can pay the bills. I want to make sure the mortgage is paid. I want to make sure this gets done, right? Certainty was super fucking important to him, and it was not important to me. So all of a sudden, I kind of cracked up when I had this realization too, that there's only 6 human needs in my top 3 and my husband's top 3. They don't even align at all. There's not one thing that crisscrosses on this, which means he is truly my polar opposite. And maybe that's a good thing. But at the same time, this made me think of some of the biggest issues that we've had in our past. Okay. So the first time we were dating, we were in our 20s, and I took him to the Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within. That's the first time I even heard what these things were. I forced him to go there. He was not really into it, but loves me very, very much. So he was willing to go and participate and play full out. But at the end of the event, it was like, okay, go pay $10,000 and pay for this next level and learn all this shit in depth. And growth, I thought was my number 1. Again, according to this test, it's number 2. But for me, I was like, yeah. I want to learn. I'm all in. I want all that shit. I'm going to pay the $10,000. I want to go more and learn and grow. And he was just like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm dating you and our life's okay, but it's not like fucking phenomenal. Let's go. Let's grow. I want to learn more. Right. And it wasn't just the fact that he wasn't all in and he didn't want to do it. Yes, I see it, Peggy. But he wasn't very supportive of the decision in my eyes. And that's where we had the problem. That's where we actually we were together for a few years and we broke up for like 6 months because I was starting to go out to all these different seminars and I felt like I was learning and growing and wanted bigger things and wanted to have my own business, wanted to be able to leave corporate America. I wanted all of these things that made no fucking sense to him. And at that time, he wasn't very supportive of it. And it literally was like soul crushing to me. And now I was able to look at it in a way that made sense because the second time that we've ever had an issue in our marriage was literally right after joining Fortune Builders. And I was like, yeah. I know we're already flipping houses, but I want to flip like 10 houses a year. And I want to learn how to do this. And we got to change how we're doing this. And I want to grow and I want to go and see this bigger thing. And he's just like, no, you make a pretty good salary as an engineer. I need that certainty shit. Like, I need this, I need that. And he wasn't supportive of me following that passion, right? And so we got into a point where, the divorce word was thrown around and I was like, if you're not going to be here for me, this is not what I want. Because again, growth and contribution are so important to me that if my husband's not going to be there for me, the love and connection for my husband was not going to outdo the fact that I need and I prioritize growth and contribution in my life. Okay. So I don't know if that made sense to any of you guys, but it was like a total breakthrough aha moment for me that I was able to look at what my needs were, what his needs were, and how different they were, and actually relate it to the most difficult times that we ever went through in our marriage and why we went through it. So on the bright side, though, while the presenter was talking about these things and just describing the 6 critical needs, the thing that jumped out at me is date night. So 2 years ago.
Could you say that again? Sorry.
What?
I didn't hear what you said.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her.
Yeah, mine does that all the time.
What? Okay. Anyway.
That is funny.
Sorry. But so now again, I want to like take this to like an application level, right? We've identified my 3, his 3. Okay, I noticed we're different, but still, what does that mean? What does that mean for our relationship? And I thought about me and my husband's date night. Okay. So we started 2 years ago, a date night every Thursday night. And when we decided to do it, my thing that I threw in there was, yes, we should do it. I want to go on date night every Thursday. I want us to be able to grow together, right? I want to contribute more to this relationship. But I threw in there, I want to go to a different restaurant every week. I was like, is that cool with you? Like, I just don't want to get into a date night and it's just like, we're going to the same place for Taco Tuesday every freaking week. Like, I want to go to a different restaurant every week. And he was like, all right, that sounds cool. So amazingly, like, just listening to that, and that's the premise of it. What do you think that date night, like, if you were to check these boxes, I put boxes here for, contribution, growth, uncertainty, love, significance, certainty. What boxes do you think get checked out by our date night based on what I just described to you guys?
Variety, uncertainty.
All of them.
All of them. 1000%, guys. It literally checks every single box. And that's why we've been able to stay committed for it for 2 years. Because one, it's a commitment, right? It's every Thursday night. We're certain about it. It's going to happen on Thursday. If we're both in town and we're not traveling, it is 100% for certain we are going on a date night Thursday night. It doesn't even matter if my mom's in here because we get a babysitter. We're certain we've committed to it. The certainty of it and the commitment to it has also given us both significance, because we know that we are so significant to each other, that we are committed to this, that we are going to make it happen no matter what, every single week. My husband and I both feel love and connection because during that time, we make it a thing to try not to speak about business, even though we're in business together, right? And talk about family, trips, what's going on. We're getting love and connection. We are growing in our relationship. We are getting variety because I decided we're never going to go to the same restaurant twice. And we are contributing to our relationship and contributing to each other, and more so just supporting each other on our journeys. Because now we're having these really deep conversations during these, date nights. So to me, the aha was like, holy shit. How do I find more activities or more of my habits or more of my routines that I'm doing right now that checks all 6 boxes? Because by definition, Tony Robbins says that any habit, anything that you do that meets 3 out of the 6 will become an addiction to you. So if it just meets 1, it might not be that big of a deal. It's like, I made a New Year's resolution this year, and, again, it checks all the boxes. I just wanted to see what was coming up next in my slides. I made a New Year's resolution this year. Like, I want to work out. Okay, what does working out, like me right now in my mindset, unless I reframe that shit, like working out, yeah, maybe it gives me growth. It gives me strength, right? To me, that's not contributing. That's not contributing to society or the legacy that I want to leave behind. And honestly, every workout that I've done has been so fucking boring and repetitive that I'm like, there's no variety there. So of course I'd ever stick with working out because it's not checking my boxes. So again, I thought that this was like so amazing. One example I want to give you guys is, and I get asked this all the time, this meeting, this weekly huddle, people ask me, Marie, why do you do it? You're not getting paid for it. None of us are giving you money, right? Why are you showing up every week? Why don't you only do it once a month? Why you don't need to do it every week? Why do you stay committed? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? So guys, my 3 top ones are contribution, growth, and variety, right? So what does this weekly huddle provide for me? It literally gives me the opportunity to teach more investors, right? Contribute to the growth of every single person on this call. What else does it give me? It gives me the opportunity to learn from the speakers that I bring on, because I don't know every topic and I don't teach it every week, right? I bring on other people. So there's growth for me by bringing on other speakers and learning from them. What else does it give me? It gives me uncertainty, variety, because each week it's a new topic. And sometimes I have 7 hours to figure out what that topic is going to be. So I'm not only getting variety, but I'm putting myself under the gun so I could bring something to you guys. So it was eye-opening to me to just realize that the fact that these are my top 3, that is the decision why I decide to do this and keep doing this and showing up every week, right? So once you can just figure out what your top 3 are, you can start to apply it to the different things in your life, and the things that you're not doing, why aren't you doing them? So another example I'm going to throw out there is right now I'm buying out-of-state rentals in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I found a fortune builder out there. Why am I so passionate about it? I have weekly calls with him. I'm helping him learn the business, because each week, like, I'm helping a new investor. I'm helping him. He's learning, he's asking me questions every week, where I'm growing my portfolio. I mean, we literally already closed on 2 properties with him in the last 2 months. And on top of that, he's bringing me new deals, and I don't know what the frick the deal's going to be. He's marketing out there. He's got a VA. He's calling people. I'm not doing the work, but it's cool because he'll be like, oh yeah, I just got a call on a mobile home park. Really? A mobile home park? Okay, let's look at that.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Will you stop it, Siri? I'm not talking to you. Okay. So anyway,
That's so great.
That
That's
is
I just wanted to
hilarious.
throw it out there that those are good examples of how you can apply, like, you can start seeing the decision-making process, the things that you stick to versus the things that you don't stick to, right? Again, New Year's resolution, why does it fizzle out? Because all of a sudden, you know what? It's not checking these boxes that I really want it to check, the ones that are the most important to me. So I'm going to give you guys some examples. I love that yoga classes went out there. Dang, I forgot to put an animation on that word. Ignore that, guys. I'm not up there yet.
I want to say thank you so much. This is an eye-opening, Mary. This is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect how juicy it was until you put that example. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, and that's why earlier I was like, I know that it's a lot of information, but we got to keep moving on because I want to get to this part because this is the good stuff.
Yeah, go. This is amazing for me. I'm just loving it. So go
Good.
for it.
All right. So, and now I'm actually going to ask you guys for help. So again, this is where I need a little feedback from you guys. So love and connection, as you can see on my list right here, love and connection is 5th. It is not the most important thing that drives me on my day-to-day decision-making. That, again, that doesn't mean I don't love and connect with my kids or my husband or whatever. It's just not the most important thing, right? It's not where I prioritize. So right now, spending quality time with my kids, I literally have made it a thing. Like, I need to spend more time with my kids. I need to spend more time with my kids. And then all of a sudden 6 months go by and I'm like, shit, I really haven't spent more quality time with my kids. And like, why am I not doing that? Is it just because love and connection is low on my list? Well, love and connection is low on my list, but I still go on date night with my husband each week, right? And get that box checked off. But it's because it checks off the higher boxes that I make it a priority. So this is where I'm saying I'm going to need some help from you guys, because like right now I have my bedtime routine with my kids. What did I tell you? The word routine makes me want to vomit. But I do love spending time with my kids at night. I usually ask them, what was the good thing about your day, and make them have some gratitude in their life. And I'm uncertain. Sometimes I get cool answers. And hopefully, they're growing and I'm contributing to their life, but maybe I just don't look at it that way. Making and eating dinner, like, to me, this is like the most awful fucking responsibility as a mother. So please don't judge me, but like, guys, this does not fulfill me. Like, I do it because I have to, right? I have to feed my kids. I have to sit there and eat dinner with them, but it is brutal, dude. It's not fulfilling for me at all. It's miserable. I'm being so honest with you guys right now. Okay. Like, but the next one, school projects and homework, I feel like a rock star. If they actually come home with a school project, I am like, guys, let's figure this out together. I go into teacher mode. I'm like, yes, let's do this. What do you want to do? How do we want to solve it? What do you want to do it on? No, the teacher said you need to do it. No, shit, we're going to do more than that. Like, we're going to make this awesome. You're going to have the best project out of all the kids. Because to me, like teaching them, giving that back, right? That contribution and seeing that growth in them learning something and doing something with me. And the fact that I have no idea what the freaking project is going to be.
Yeah, you're like, the mom who made dinner and everything else nightmare, but it's all good. That's so good. It's a perspective. Right? Like, fuck, I made dinner, but I always ask the teacher, what freaking nightmare project are you giving us this year that we have to be part of?
Right. So so for you, Liz, that school project was probably like the worst fucking thing that you had to do. But you were like, dude, making and eating dinner and spending quality times with my kid because loving connection's really strong for me. That was awesome. I felt like the best mom ever. Meanwhile, I'm sitting at dinner with my kids and I'm literally like, please eat, shut up, eat.
Funny,
faster.
loving connection is still down on my list, but the school project was a fucking nightmare for me. But you're right. Both. It's funny because love and connection is about the same part in our both of our things.
Yeah, but was it that it might have been stronger for you when the kids were younger too?
Maybe, but
especially because growth wasn't that high on your list before.
I know. Yes, you're exactly. I'm so glad you said that because that's a good point. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that is so good because I said to you this morning, 5 years ago, growth would not have been up there, and you're exactly right. But now it's me. And I think that's so important that everybody realizes that these can change, but significance has always been my number one. That didn't change, but that's a super important thing. I think as we become parents, as we become lovers, as we become business owners, as we become where we are in our life, they're gonna change, and that is totally okay. But recognizing that in ourselves and other people.
Yeah. So I swear, y'all, I only have one more slide after this because I know we're getting on 8 o'clock and I went super long today. But again, I was very passionate about this and it was something that I wanted to share with you guys. So this is, again, going back, I gave the example of working out. I've never been consistent. I hired a personal trainer. I had a personal trainer for like 1.5 years. And even after like 3 months, I remember being like, fuck, dude, I'm just doing the same fucking exercise over and over again. Like, you're rotating that shit, but it ain't that fucking cool. Like, come on. And yeah, I was getting some growth out of it. I had lost a lot of weight. I was in probably the best physical shape of my life, but I didn't feel like anything miraculous about it. Zumba classes, it's like, yeah, okay, there's only so much shaking my ass that I can do before I get totally bored with it and it doesn't fulfill or check the boxes. So maybe you guys have some advice for me as far as like what I can do to spice up my time with my kids or spice up my workout routine so I can feel like there's some more growth and contribution and variety there. I'm just saying, these are my top 3 folks. So help me out.
HIIT classes.
HIIT, that's what I know. I talked to Liz today, so I'm going to have to try the HIIT classes because I know they're always shaking things up.
I have a suggestion for the kids. Take road trips with the kids.
Yeah. That'll be good.
I used to lunch. You will get all your all those things in here.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that down right now.
I think one of the things I always did was I would do spontaneous events with them. So whenever they visit, I just make it a routine that on one of the nights when they're here, I'm always going to go do something that they've never done before. And so that was my give back teaching moment. And at the same time, love and connection that had a lot of significance while I was teaching my grandkids. So
I know a girl, listen, all your things, I think, what did you tell me you did at Christmas? The camping in the backyard. The events. I mean, tell me everything you said you were going to do. I was like, oh my God, I want to be a grandkid in her life. We're going to camp in the backyard. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going
to random stuff. And then COVID hit. But
good, good. So Aura, I'm gonna hit you up with a text message that's like, break me down, all this spontaneous stuff that I need some spice in my life.
You know what Stuart does with David every single Saturday? Every single Saturday morning. And he, whatever he has to do, he stops and he goes and do that with David. They go and watch cartoons, all cartoons, Bugs Bunny, you know, all those cartoons, and have a bowl of cereal. That's what Stuart used to do when he was a little kid, and that's what he does now with David. And David, oh, he will get molestic if I interrupt that time with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome. And again, that's giving them, you know, that time, that loving connection, that significance to them. Like, and I know, again, just going back, like, I know spending time with my kids, that bedtime routine, they're going to give me significant first of all, I said, I do ask them every night, like, what was the 3 best things that happened today? Or what are you grateful for today? And my 6-year-old, every single night, my 6-year-old says, right now with you, mommy, this is the best time of the day. And I love it. Do you know how significant that makes me feel? I'm his mom. I'm spending time with him. He's got the loving connection. He's got the certainty that I'm going to be there. Like, again, I actually, the bedtime routine is probably one of the better things. But like I said, this eating dinner shit.
I know, but Marie, you're looking for them. It's going to bed. It's listening to them, and it's not going to be right in the beginning. Oh, mommy, whatever you want to do. But it's the sucky stuff. It's the stuff you don't. I mean, I say that because there's shit I didn't want to go do. But I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And you know what? We decided Friday nights were milkshake movie night in my house. We had special cups. We got milkshakes. They got popcorn. They had pizza. And we watched a freaking family movie. And we made beds in the living room. And I mean, it was a huge milkshake movie night was huge in my house. And that's so because every single thing was special, but I didn't like cartoony movies. So I was always like, okay, what's a real life movie that we can watch that have real people in it? But now Shrek came along and there was good movies. The milkshake movie night, you ask my kids, they still have the special cups because everybody has a special cup. They got to eat milkshakes and popcorn, pizza, movies. It was an all out love affair in my house on milkshake movie night.
All right, so this is my last slide, and I'm just going to go over it real quick because it's 8 o'clock. So literally, if you have any belief or behavior that simultaneously fulfills 3 or more of the 6 human needs, you will become addicted to it. So, you know, Liz, I'm sure if you thought about your 5 a.m. workout, which to me is like 5 a.m. at the gym every day, blow my brains out. But I promise you that for her, it's meeting probably 5, if not all 6 human needs in that workout. And she is addicted to it. And that, you know, it's giving her connection to the people in the gym. It's giving her growth personally. I'm sure I know she contributes because she's in groups with people from that gym and contributes to their lives in other ways, not just by working out. You know, I'm sure that it gives her significance because I know they have some strongman competitions there and I've seen her win some trophies on that, and Liz is strong. So I know that meets all 6 needs for her. And so maybe I just have to reframe and rethink the way I think about working out. But I'm just saying, any belief or behavior that you have that can meet 3 or more of these 6 human needs that we went over, you will become addicted to it. And then figure out which are your top 3. I know I told you guys to do that earlier and take a break, but apply them to the different areas of your life and the activities that you do on a day-to-day basis and see what activities, like what boxes are they actually checking off for me? Why do I do these things? Why do I have certain habits? Like I still binge watch Netflix, y'all. And I know that everyone's like, Marie, how do you have time to binge watch Netflix? Because you do so many things, because I'm a growth and contributor person. So I have like 17 million things that I got to do in a week. But at the same time, I do need to decompress. So I don't care if it's midnight and I need to go to sleep. I'm still just like, just 1 hour of TV. I need that guilty pleasure of just letting my brain go, right? So, but it checks a lot of boxes for me, that 1 hour of TV. So that's why I still do it. And any new habits you want to fill, right? So you want this to meet whatever this New Year's resolution is, but the only way you're going to get that resolution is by making sure it checks out at least 3 boxes, and preferably your top 3, if not at least 2 of your top 3 and other of the needs. And so I just challenge you to just figure out what are the ways that you're currently meeting these needs because they're being met somehow. They are needs. They are mandatory. You're doing it all the time, every day in your life. And I think it will be a challenge and a good exercise for everybody. Take the time, you know, jump up and down, do like 10 jumping jacks, put yourself in a good frame of mind, and then start writing down, like, where do I spend time throughout the day? What am I doing? And in doing that activity, how does it fulfill one of these 6 needs? And so that's really all I had for that. I do have these resources. Tony Robbins is where I first learned about this. So this is a good resource. This was a write-up explaining further some of the 6 human needs and where they actually came from, as far as like Freud and other psychologist names that are thrown in there, some geeky stuff in case anybody's interested. The third link in here, and I'll share all these on the Weekly Huddle group. I can actually probably copy and paste them and put them in the chat right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can you put them somewhere, both places?
Yeah.
So that we can get them all.
Let me stop
And
sharing.
Maria, I have to give kudos to you. This is awesome. I know you and I talked this morning, but this was huge. I think you got to do this again. I think we got to put it together as a webinar. I think it's phenomenal. You're like growth. And I think if people don't realize that this wasn't growth today, and again, it's further than deeper than this, but so many freaking things that you can learn. And I used to think personality tests in a business were cheesy. I didn't understand it. I was even in human resources for years. But now I realize it's not to exclude people. It's really not to exclude people. It's to include people. Like, are you going to be a right fit for us? And are we going to be a right fit for you? And if you realize the value of that in the human nature, then that's what makes it so much better. It's not, you should value that you should be blessed. Like, oh, that wasn't a great job for me. Thank God. Because I would have been miserable, versus this is so beautiful and I love it. And these are the people I want to work with and be surrounded with every day. And so we need to embrace that stuff, you know. I think it's so great to work with people that you want to work with. And for all of us in what we're in real estate, if we're all in that, it's even your subcontractors. Who do you want to be with? Who resonates with you? Who is not in your vibe? Who doesn't care about making sure your house is the most beautiful? Your property isn't it? I mean, that's it. I mean, when Mia sells, she's not going to go in there and sell a crap piece of property, because she's not going to be like, oh, I'm so excited to sell this. So, I mean, that's just it. I think it's just all who we are. And so I think it's a great way to represent. Yeah. And then you can value people and get their strengths. So Marie, I think you did a phenomenal job. I give you a round of applause.
Thank you. And so I
didn't mean to be rude, but
no, you're fine. I just shared everything in the chat. And like I said, I'll put them in the Weekly Huddle, the Facebook group, the links as well. The third one, like I said, the 6 human needs .sfwalker.com or whatever, that's where you can take the actual quiz. So if you don't want to think about it, or like I said, I thought about it, and then when I took the quiz, they were just slightly in a different order, but I knew that growth and contribution were pretty close. And
I know, but that's what's so funny. I think, and then it changes. You might have a core thing, and just because something's in the lower tier doesn't mean, like Marie, it's funny that you and I are both in the love and connection, are both lower. It doesn't mean we don't love and connect people, because y'all know I love you, but it's just
yeah. And it's just, again, it's where we are at this point of our life, what we're prioritizing. For me right now, you know, like Alfredo said earlier, leaving a legacy and contributing to society in some way. And I mean, literally, I know that I say this and you guys always probably think that I'm crazy, but like, I love these huddles. I love the fact that you guys show up. I don't care if there's 1, I don't care if there's 10 of you, I don't care if there's 30 of you. Like, I legit pour my heart into you guys as much as I can, because this is my contribution. Like, I don't need to be Mariah Carey. I know that when I leave this world, I have contributed to all of your lives. You know what I mean? So I just want you to know that I love you guys. And it was a great way to put this in there, because people, again, do ask me, they're like, Marie, why do you do it? Like, why? What's in it for you? Guys,
but you can be Mariah Carey. We just have to come up with the Christmas song of all Christmas songs, Forever.
But
Where
I
did
just
your
want you
lie
guys
song?
to know,
Sorry.
like, I mean, Liz always says peace and love, but I'm telling you
know.
guys, like, true love. And I know loving connections low on my list, but I love all of you guys because you allow me to contribute and grow with y'all at the same time.
Love you too.
So,
You're
Good job.
amazing.
I
Good
love
job.
you,
Go eat some fried
Marie.
rice.
Thank you so much for this. This was
Love you.
So much.
excellent.
That was amazing.
Excellent.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
See you
Thank
guys
you,
next
Julie. I
week.
appreciate you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Peace and
Bye.
love. Bye.
all right,
Thank
bye
you.
guys. See you next week.
You're amazing, lady.
Thank you. I'm trying to stop the recording, but it looks like my Zoom froze.
Well, have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Good night.
Good night. The whole computer's frozen.